This morning, a defeated Kamala Harris addresses her supporters, urging them to continue the fight that fueled this campaign. Anthony Albanese phones Donald Trump congratulating the US President-elect, what it will mean for Australia's relationship with America. The world-first legislation that will see Australian children banned from social media. And the state government reopens its gun buyback.
This is 7 Morning News, live from Perth with Monique, Dirksz.
Good morning. Kamala Harris has promised a peaceful transition of power after accepting her crushing defeat in the US presidential election. In an uplifting concession speech, she urged supporters to keep fighting. US Bureau Chief David Woiwod is in Washington, D.C.
Well, this certainly wasn't the address that Kamala Harris's supporters had wanted her to make here at Howard University, and thousands had gathered here today to hear the Vice President take to that podium and make that concession speech. It was a graceful address to the nation and to her supporters. She has begun by giving her love and thanks to her husband, Doug, and thanks as well to her running mate, of course, the Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. She saved special attention too for those thousands and thousands of door knockers, volunteers, those people that hit those phone banks right across the country to help this campaign. But of course, in the end, it simply was not enough, and Kamala Harris has now fallen on her sword. She has conceded this election, telling the President-elect now, Donald Trump, earlier in the day. But this was Vice President Kamala Harris earlier today at Howard University.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up and as long as we keep fighting.
Well, it's done very little to actually salve the herd of thousands of her supporters right around the country. We spoke to a number of them down here today. Many of them still very bitter about this and now just fearing what a Donald Trump presidency 2.0 will look like.
I feel defeated, but I don't feel overcome. I have a lot of mixed emotions.
Well, I felt better.
Hard day?
It's a hard day. Yeah, it's a hard day.
So now this election, it has been run and won by the Republicans. Of course, a thumping, comprehensive victory, wall to wall, up and down the ticket, right around the country. Donald Trump reveling in that victory now, but America in this position of having had an election, a concession speech, and now that commitment to a peaceful transfer of power.
US President-elect Donald Trump has spent the morning on the phone to world leaders, accepting calls of congratulations for his triumph at the polls. Our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese saying our relationship with Washington is as strong as ever. Political reporter Isabelle Mullen has the details.
Well, the Prime Minister has promised to work closely with the Trump administration, pointing to our enduring alliance with the United States. Anthony Albanese appeared stoic this morning despite growing concerns over the AUKUS submarine deal and climate policy. A Trump administration could put Australia in a tough position, particularly as the Albanese government works to improve our relationship with China. The Greens want the Prime Minister to cancel our AUKUS agreement altogether, something the Prime Minister has flat out rejected. Anthony Albanese is on the record back in 2017 saying Donald Trump scares him, but his message was very different this morning.
Our government will work closely with the new Trump administration to realise the benefits of what is a very strong economic and security partnership. Australia and the United States are old allies and true friends.
I think Australians should be very relaxed about a second term of President Trump, because in his first term, President Trump was a very good friend of Australia.
But the federal government is preparing for a fight over trade deals. Donald Trump has promised an America First agenda, slapping a 10% tariff on imports from all nations, including Australia, and a 60% tariff on imports from China.
The big concern is large tariffs on China, which may have an adverse effect on us.
We can't be setting policy on the basis of things that could happen or might not happen. At this stage, we would be sticking with our inflation outlook.
So very much a wait and see as to what impact this Trump administration will have on our trade and defence deals.
Donald Trump achieved what's been described as the greatest comeback in US political history, defying pollsters, assassins and criminal convictions. Correspondent Tim Lester reports from Florida.
Across the razor-sharp divide in American politics, they're assessing a remarkable and historic election today. For Donald Trump's supporters, this is the victory he deserved from 4 years ago.
It is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Based on my worldview, he is someone who stands for the things that I stand for.
Very optimistic. I think that the country is in need of repair.
But for the half of the population here opposed to Donald Trump, this election is historic for the wrong reasons. He's the oldest ever US president at his election, 78, older even than Joe Biden. He's also the first convicted felon elected to the White House. In fact, there's a sentencing hearing currently scheduled 3 weeks from now, which surely has to be changed, if not abandoned altogether. And today we learn that the prosecutor in those other federal cases against Donald Trump, the documents from Mar-a-Lago allegations and the claims that he interfered with the 2020 election, is now assessing how to wind down those cases. This after Donald Trump, speaking last night, spoke of divine intervention in his re-election.
Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason.
In America's Electoral College, Mr. Trump has now surpassed the 270 needed for a majority. He's at 292 and will build on that further. Of the 7 battleground states on which this election hinged, he's won 5 and is ahead in the remaining 2, so may sweep all 7, and his party has gained control of the Senate and may yet gain control of America's House of Representatives. In all, a strong win for the former and now future president.
To local news now, and a disruptive passenger has caused a disturbance on a Jetstar flight. The plane was travelling from Melbourne and landed in Perth earlier this morning. Rachel Tasser is at Perth Airport with the details.
The disruptive passenger has caused a Jetstar flight to be cancelled, with Australian Federal Police called in. Officers were waiting at Perth Airport when flight JQ972 from Melbourne landed at 7:20 this morning, with passengers told to stay in their seats. A man in his 20s was taken to Royal Perth Hospital following a medical incident. In a statement, Jetstar says the safety and welfare of our customers and crew is our top priority, and we thank them for the way they responded to the situation. This sort of unacceptable behaviour will never be tolerated on our flights. No one was injured in the incident. The Jetstar plane was scheduled to fly back to Melbourne at 8 a.m, but was delayed a number of times before being cancelled.
We're going to one of my nephew's weddings coming up, and so yeah, somewhat annoyed. We could have, slept in a bit more. But so now we've been told we've got to come back tomorrow at 1:30 a.m. So yeah, somewhat frustrating.
Passengers have been forced to go home until their replacement flight tomorrow morning.
Plans to ban children under 16 years old from using social media platforms such as Facebook, TikTok and Snapchat have been confirmed by Anthony Albanese today. The government had previously announced a proposal for a minimum age, but had not yet settled on the number.
This one's for the mums and dads. Social media is doing harm to our kids, and I'm calling time on it.
Users won't be punished for breaking the rules, and it will be up to tech companies to stop kids from signing up to their sites. A special national cabinet will be held tomorrow to discuss the changes before new laws are introduced into federal parliament before the end of the year. The reforms won't take effect for 12 months. WA licensed gun dealers are being offered the opportunity to sell back their stocks of surplus firearms. After the success of the gun buyback scheme to individual owners, the government is offering the same opportunity to dealers until the 17th of January. Under the previous buyback, almost 40,000 pistols, shotguns and rifles were surrendered for cash.
Firearm dealers in Western Australia can get up to $1,000 per gun, dependent on the type, style, calibre and age of each weapon.
Under new gun laws, property owners will be restricted in the number of written authorities they can give to gun owners, and it will be illegal to sell those authorities. We have breaking news now. The teenage driver of the car which claimed the life of Nick Campo has fronted Perth Children's Court this morning and surrendered his bail in what's been described as a demonstration of his remorse. It means the 17-year-old will be taken into custody. His family were visibly upset as they left court this morning. He will appear next month via video link to face a charge of manslaughter. You're watching 7's Morning News live from Perth. Still to come. Grocery prices in the spotlight as the consumer watchdog investigates the supermarket giants. And Israel hails Trump's election win, what it means for the raging conflicts in the Middle East.
Yeah, look what happened. Is this crazy?
The news team that never stops.
We begin with a major update.
These fresh charges have come about as a result of our investigation.
Nick Overall from 7 News. There are some pretty concerning claims.
7 News.
Supermarket giants will go under the microscope today with the consumer watchdog beginning public hearings. It will examine profits, competition and the supply chains, hearing evidence from senior executives at Coles, Woolworths, Aldi and other stores. Online shopping and loyalty programs will also be in question. The Albanese government is rushing to introduce new laws today so immigration detainees can once again be monitored with ankle bracelets and curfews. Yesterday, the High Court ruled the previous regime was unlawful. The opposition is not guaranteed to support Labor's plan.
They should publicly release the legislation. They should brief the opposition on the legislation, and we will consider our position.
The High Court ruled ankle bracelets and curfews were unconstitutional because it was the government punishing people, not the courts. The wording of new laws will focus on community safety. 2 men have been arrested after a police officer was struck by a car in Melbourne's northwest. Officers had deployed stop sticks in Diggers Rest when the senior constable was hit. He was taken to hospital with serious injuries, including a broken leg. The men were later arrested at a shopping centre after dumping a vehicle. In the Middle East, all eyes are now on Donald Trump and his plans to intervene in the raging conflicts between Israel and Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu calling Trump's election win history's greatest comeback.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thrilled with this American election result. Some far-right members of his government really made no secret of the fact they were hoping Trump would win. Now that he has, they think it may lead to a more hawkish U.S. position on Iran, less American pressure on Israel over the Palestinians. But they are acutely aware that Trump has also promised to end the war in the Middle East. One Israeli official telling me they think Netanyahu might try to sign a ceasefire deal early in Trump's next term, trying to hand the new president a quick diplomatic victory. Israel's government concerns that the outgoing Biden administration could step up pressure in its final weeks in office. The domestic politics here in Israel very tense right now. Last night, while all eyes were on the voting in the U.S., Netanyahu fired his defense minister, a man he has clashed with publicly over the prospect of a ceasefire deal. That led to major demonstrations on the streets of Tel Aviv, crowds calling for a deal to finally bring those hostages home. So the Middle East very much in flux right now as the big players try to figure out what this historic American election means for them.
Locals in Melania Trump's hometown of Slovenia have expressed their pride after her husband's election victory. The townspeople excited that she will once again be the First Lady of the United States. A local dessert shop celebrating the win by proudly displaying a cake made to celebrate Melania from the previous time she was First Lady. Prince William has given a rare update on wife Kate's health 2 months after she announced her chemotherapy treatment for cancer was complete. The Prince of Wales telling reporters at the Earthshot Prize Awards in Cape Town she's doing really well. He went on to say she's been amazing this whole year. Now, this had all of Sydney scratching their heads, but initial results have revealed exactly what was in the mystery black balls that washed up on the city's eastern beaches. Testing by the University of New South Wales has found a combination of waste, including cooking oil, soap scum, faeces, as well as medication and recreational drugs. The final results will be handed down within a few weeks. Stay with us on 7 Sport is up after the break, including Michael Nesser goes within centimetres of a hat-trick at the MCG, and the embarrassing brain fade that ended Aston Villa's unbeaten start to the Champions League.
Yeah, look what had happened. Is this crazy?
The news team that never stops.
We begin with a major update.
These fresh charges have come about as a result of our investigation.
Nick Overall from 7 News. There are some pretty concerning claims.
7 News.
Welcome back. Former Aussie Test star Michael Nesser almost snared a hat-trick in the opening over of the second game between Australia A and India A at the MCG. After taking 2 wickets in as many balls, Nesser's next delivery drew an inside edge and sailed just over the top of the stumps.
On a hat-trick. Neeson nearly getting a hat-trick. Inside edge past the keeper down to the rope for 4.
In a sign that he's in the box seat to replace David Warner in the Test team, Aussie A captain Nathan McSweeney will open the batting for his first time in his career.
Any position they tell me where to bat for Australia, I'll be happy with. So I'm really looking forward to the opportunity and I can't wait.
India A were reduced to 4 for 11 when Nesser got his 3rd wicket. Elise Perry's tremendous start to the Women's Big Bash continues. The Sixers captain starred with 86 off 62 balls in last night's win over the Hurricanes. Perry should have been dismissed on 81. The star all-rounder was run out, but no Hobart players appealed.
And no one's gone upstairs with it. No one's appealed. I didn't think they did. This is what's blown my mind.
Perry's extra 5 runs proved critical. The Hurricanes coming up 6 short in the chase. 15-year-old Kiva Bray impressed again with 2 wickets. The Wallabies begin their spring tour against England at Twickenham this weekend. They're looking to build some momentum before the British and Irish Lions come to Australia next year.
And we probably find out a bit more about which players are really going to are prepared and ready to really stand up under some pressure situations.
NRL convert Joseph Akusu-Suwali is expected to debut against England. An embarrassing handball blunder ended Aston Villa's unbeaten start in the Champions League. Playing Club Bruges, Tyrone Mings didn't realise Emi Martinez had taken a goal kick and picked up the ball.
He says the ball was in play and Tyrone Mings has handled it there thinking it wasn't. That's extraordinary.
The Belgian side converted the resulting penalty to win 1-0. I'll have all your weather details next on 7's Morning News. See you after the break. Welcome back. Checking the weather now. It's currently 20 degrees in our city. Looking at the forecast for the suburbs, cloudy and 21 for Joondalup, and it's the same story right the way down the coast to Rockingham. Midland is a little warmer today and 24 degrees. Armidale can expect the same. And looking at the rest of the week, 26 degrees tomorrow, but there is going to be some showers and even the chance of a storm for the northeastern suburbs. Partly cloudy and 27 Saturday, 26 for Sunday, and a warm start to next week, 28 Monday, partly cloudy, and 26 on Tuesday, sunshine, and 26 degrees next Wednesday. And that's 7's Morning News for this Thursday. Thanks for your company. Stay with us. We'll have the latest updates right across the afternoon and, of course, in our main bulletins at 4 and 6 o'clock. I'm Monique Dirksz. Enjoy the rest of your day.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download